Give me a minute, and I want to talk about a strategic failure of the Russian Federation, and that is in the manufacture of weapons. The vaunted weapons of the Russian Federation that until recently were sought after all around the globe. People wanted these Russian weapons. Russia was one of the major arms manufacturers that there were. Not anymore, boy. The failure of Russian weaponry on the battlefield in Ukraine is the best advertisement for American military equipment that America could ever have wanted. $90 billion in orders have flowed into the United States said in just last year in 2023 from allies and others who have seen that you can't count on Russian weapons. You can't. And here's one of the reasons why. In their analysis, the forensic analysis of missiles, drones, and other weapons that have come into Ukraine, according to the UAF, and this is provided by the Telegram channel UA War Infographics, only 14 components in all those weapons were manufactured in Russia. That's insane. Not 14%, my friends. This is the total number of components. That means they're buying less than 1% of the components in Russian weapons are made in Russia. They buy the components off the shelves because, of course, that is so much cheaper than doing your own R&D. That is so much easier and cheaper than doing your own R&D and manufacture. That they just buy them off the shelf from everywhere else and assemble them in Russia. It's like buying a Russian car. There was great video on Telegram recently of a guy who bought a Russian car and he took it apart and he couldn't find a single part in it that was made in Russia. Everything was stamped made in China, made in China. It's unreal. But as really just insane as this is, I mean, I think about the United States a few years ago, we found out that one component, I want to say in the F-35, maybe the F-22, but one of our fighter jets, one component had a piece that was manufactured in China. Holy shit, everybody went crazy, right? Get Raytheon on the phone. Enough of this shit. But here's what really bothers me about this. Look at right there. 3,000, over 3,000 of the components found in Russian weapons come from the United States. Now, look, I understand doing business in peacetime is one thing, but now, how are they getting them? And what are we doing to stop them from getting them? And we know we've got about a double dozen Russian agents in custody in the United States facing charges of having shell companies that would buy these components and export them to third-party countries like Belarus or Turkey, etc. And then they would then import them or export them to Russia. So the law enforcement agencies in the United States responsible for this kind of thing are doing their jobs. But if Russia is still manufacturing missiles, it's clearly not enough. We got to be doing more in order to stop them from being able to prosecute this war, which is insane. The whole thing is beyond my comprehension. But right here, this is what you get when you have a state-run economic model. When you don't invest in your own R&D. When you outsource everything. I can buy the motherboards that they're putting in Iskander missiles and I can test them right here in my house and try to hack them and figure out what I have to do to hack them. Hack the guidance systems, hack the control systems, hack the targeting systems. Because they're off-the-shelf components. It's insane, just like everything else that the Russians are doing. Guys, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year, especially my Patreon supporters. If you're a Patreon supporter at the $30 level or more, you get a video sponsored every month. And so for January, Vanetta, this is your video. You know very well I could not do this without you, and I am deeply grateful for all the support that you give, both emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and financial. Thank you, Vanetta.